From giant heads to serpent dances, here are the tribes with rituals stranger than fiction. In the remote valleys of Ethiopia live the Surma, a people whose beauty standards are unlike anything most of us have ever seen. Among the women, one of the most striking traditions is the stretching of the lower lip using large clay plates. The process begins when a girl reaches her teenage years. A small incision is made and a piece of wood or a small disc is inserted. Over time, the size is increased until some women can carry lip plates nearly a foot across. To outsiders, this may seem extreme, even shocking, but within Surma culture, it is a symbol of strength, identity, and maturity. The plates are often decorated with bold patterns, painted with natural pigments, and sometimes worn during festivals or when meeting outsiders to display the pride of the community. Anthropologists still debate the exact origins of the custom. Some suggest it began as a way to make women less attractive to rival tribes during times of conflict, while others see it purely as an artistic expression. In modern days, it has become a cultural marker, setting the Surma apart from neighboring groups. Interestingly, women decide for themselves how far they want to take the tradition. Not all of them choose to stretch their lips to the maximum, but those who do often hold a special place of respect in their community. What fascinates many visitors is how the Surma combine such intense body modification with a life that otherwise feels timeless. Herding cattle, painting their bodies with bright white clay, and performing elaborate dances, they live a life deeply connected to nature. To them, the lip plates are not strange or bizarre, but part of the rhythm of life passed from mothers to daughters for generations. On the island of Pentecost in Vanuatu, men perform one of the most breathtaking rituals on Earth: land diving. Tall wooden towers, sometimes over 80 feet high, are built by hand with vines tied at the top. Then, one by one, men climb the shaky structure, tie the vines to their ankles, and leap headfirst toward the ground. The goal is to come as close as possible to touching the earth without smashing into it. If the timing and vine length are perfect, their shoulders just brush the soil, which is seen as a blessing for a good harvest. Locals believe that the ritual ensures fertility of the land, especially the yam crops that are central to their survival. What makes this tradition even more fascinating is that it's considered the ancestor of modern bungee jumping. Western thrill seekers may jump from steel bridges with elastic cords, but here the risk is very real. The vines don't stretch, and everything depends on how well they've been measured. The first divers are usually the youngest boys, some barely in their teens, proving their courage before the whole village. As the older men dive, chants, drums, and cheers echo through the valley, turning it into a spiritual spectacle. Tourists who witness it describe it as both terrifying and mesmerizing, like watching a live stunt show where failure is not an option. To the Vanuatu people, land diving isn't just bravery, it's about honoring the bond between humans, earth, and ancestors. Deep in the Amazon rainforest, the Satere-Mawé tribe is known for a rite of passage that shocks almost anyone who hears about it. Young men who want to be recognized as warriors must face the bullet ant ritual. Bullet ants are infamous for having one of the most painful stings of any insect in the world, said to feel like being shot, which is how they got their name. The tribe weaves dozens of these ants into special gloves made of leaves, their stingers facing inward. When the gloves are ready, the initiate slips both hands inside and must keep them there while the ants sting repeatedly. The ritual isn't just about surviving a few minutes of pain. To prove they are truly ready for adulthood, the men must repeat this ordeal many times over several months. Each time, the ceremony is accompanied by dancing, chanting, and the encouragement of the entire community. What might look like pure suffering from the outside is actually a demonstration of courage, endurance, and loyalty to the tribe. Anthropologists who've observed it say it forges a deep sense of identity in those who go through it. The Satere-Mawe believe that only someone who can withstand this trial is strong enough to defend their people and provide for them. In a world where most of us prove ourselves through exams or sports, the Satere-Mawe's way is a reminder of how different cultures define strength. In parts of Malaysia, Singapore, and India, the Tamil community celebrates Taipusam, one of the most visually striking religious festivals in the world. It is dedicated to Lord Murugan, the god of war, and involves acts of devotion that leave outsiders stunned. Devotees prepare for days through fasting and prayer before carrying massive structures called kavadis on their shoulders. Some of these towering frameworks are decorated with peacock feathers, flowers, and pictures of deities weighing as much as 100 pounds. The kavadi is carried on a long walk to the temple, often for miles, accompanied by drumming, chanting, and crowds of spectators. What makes Taipusam so extraordinary is the element of piercing. Many participants push thin rods, hooks, or skewers through their cheeks, tongues, or backs while carrying their kavadi. They believe that the pain is transcended through faith, allowing them to focus only on devotion. Far from being chaotic, the festival is carefully guided by priests and supported by family members who help devotees through the journey. The sight is surreal, thousands of people moving in unison, some in trance-like states, while the air is filled with music and the scent of incense. For the Tamil people, Taipusam is not about shocking outsiders, but about proving one's spiritual dedication, cleansing the soul, and asking for blessings. To visitors, though, it often feels like witnessing a scene out of a movie, something larger than life that blends human willpower with divine faith. In Ethiopia's Omo Valley, the Suri people are masters of body art. Their warriors transform themselves into living canvases, covering their faces and bodies with chalky white paint. They don't just smear it on randomly, each pattern is carefully chosen, ranging from dots to swirls and geometric designs. Combined with flowers, sticks, or horns fixed into elaborate headdresses, the effect is striking. A Suri warrior can look more like a mythical creature than a man. This isn't just decoration, it's about identity, intimidation, and pride. In their community, beauty and strength go hand in hand, and the more original and bold your design, the more respect you earn. What fascinates photographers and anthropologists is how creative the Suri are with natural materials. A warrior might use bright leaves, animal horns, or even entire branches to crown his head. In gatherings or competitions, they line up like a display of surreal characters, each trying to outdo the other in artistry. Outsiders often compare the sight to scenes from fantasy films where entire armies wear elaborate war paint. Yet for the Suri, it's daily life. The tradition strengthens bonds among men, unites the community, and links them with the natural world around them. Their art is temporary, washed away by rain or sweat, but its impact is unforgettable for anyone who sees it. In southwestern Nigeria, the Yoruba people host a festival that feels like stepping into another dimension, the Gallade Masquerade. During this event, dancers wear massive wooden masks with bright colors and towering designs, some reaching several feet high. These masks often depict animals, ancestors, or spirits, and are believed to channel powerful forces of nature. The performers, dressed in elaborate costumes, dance rhythmically to drumming while the community gathers to watch. The Gallade Festival celebrates the power of women, fertility, and the balance of the universe, but to an outsider, it feels like a surreal carnival of living sculptures. What makes the masquerade so memorable is how much it mixes humor, artistry, and spirituality. Some masks are comical, with exaggerated features, while others are intimidating and solemn. The dancers bring the masks to life, moving with exaggerated gestures and telling stories through their performance. For the Yoruba, this is not mere entertainment, it is a sacred tradition that honors both the visible and invisible world. UNESCO has even recognized Gallade as part of the world's cultural heritage, ensuring that this dazzling spectacle is preserved. Watching the festival can feel like being caught in a theatrical play where gods, animals, and humans merge into one stage, blurring the line between reality and myth. In the remote Zairo Valley of northeast India live the Apatani, a people once known for one of the most unusual beauty customs in the world. Apatani women used to insert large round plugs of wood into both sides of their noses, stretching them into dramatic discs. Outsiders often found this shocking, but within the tribe it carried deep meaning. According to legend, the tradition started to protect women from being kidnapped by neighboring groups who considered them exceptionally beautiful. By making themselves appear less desirable to outsiders, they believed they could reduce raids on their community. Over generations, the nose plugs evolved from a necessity to a proud marker of cultural identity. The sight of women with wide wooden discs protruding from their noses fascinated early travelers and anthropologists, who often photographed them. Today, however, the practice has almost disappeared. Modern Apatani women no longer use nose plugs, but older generations still carry the marks of this tradition. Their presence is a living reminder of how tribes adapt to history, conflict, and survival. The Apatani are also known for their rich farming skills, creating intricate rice paddies that sustain their people. Yet it is the striking image of the wooden nose plugs that has made them one of the most talked about tribes of India, leaving behind a visual legacy as unique as any body art in the world. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Mangbetu people once practiced a custom that made them stand out from every neighboring tribe: deliberate head elongation. From infancy, a child's skull was wrapped tightly with cloth, slowly shaping it into a tall, conical form by adulthood. For the Mangbetu, this striking look was not strange, but a celebrated symbol of beauty, intelligence, and high status. Women styled their hair in tall, elegant buns that made the elongated skulls even more prominent, turning them into living symbols of refinement. To early European explorers, the sight was both fascinating and unsettling, often compared to mythical beings or characters from science fiction. Looking at rare images of tribes with massive head shapes today, one can get a glimpse of how the Mangbetu may have appeared in their prime: regal, otherworldly, and unforgettable. What gave this custom even more power was its cultural meaning. The Mangbetu believed that an elongated head separated noble families from ordinary ones, creating a visible mark of prestige. It was not just about aesthetics, but about belonging to a higher social circle. The practice began to decline in the 20th century, yet the photographs and accounts left behind have influenced artists, fashion designers, and even filmmakers who still borrow elements of Mangbetu imagery. Although skull elongation is no longer practiced, the Mangbetu remain one of Africa's most visually iconic tribes, a reminder of how human creativity can reshape even the body itself in the pursuit of identity and beauty. Along the Sepik River in Papua New Guinea, and the symbols that define their world. High in the mountains of Papua lives the Dani tribe, known for a mourning ritual unlike any other. When a close family member dies, women and sometimes men once expressed their grief by cutting off a small portion of their fingers. Each segment removed represented the deep emotional pain of losing someone dear. The act was done with sharpened tools and the wound sealed with ash and clay. To outsiders, the practice looks shocking, but to the Dani it was a profound gesture of love and sorrow. The missing fingers became a visible sign of devotion to the memory of the dead. This ritual has mostly disappeared today due to outside influence and government bans, but elders with shortened fingers are still living reminders of the old way. They carry their hands like a history book, each missing piece telling a personal story of loss and connection. What fascinates many is how the Dani combined such a raw ritual with vibrant cultural traditions like wearing grass skirts, decorating themselves with feathers, and performing war dances. For them, the body was not only a vessel for life, but also a canvas for expressing the deepest emotions. In a world where most people show grief with words or clothing, the Dani took it to a level that ensured remembrance was carved into their very bodies. While the Satere-Mawé men in the Amazon are known for enduring the bullet ant gloves, their women take part in a different but equally striking tradition: the serpent dance. During special ceremonies, groups of women wrap enormous, lifelike serpent ornaments around their bodies and move in unison to the beat of drums. The snakes represent fertility, the rainforest's spirit, and the cycle of life. Their graceful steps and hypnotic swaying create a performance that feels both ritual and theater. Outsiders often compare it to a living myth, as if the women become the spirits of the jungle itself. For the Satere-Mawe, the serpent dance balances the men's painful trials with a display of beauty and strength, proving that both endurance and elegance hold power in their culture. Among India's holy men, few are as mysterious as the Aghori Sadhus. This small sect of ascetics lives on the edges of society, often near cremation grounds, and practices rituals designed to confront mortality and detach themselves from fear. Unlike other spiritual groups, the Aghori seek enlightenment by embracing what most people avoid. They cover their bodies with ash, wear necklaces made of bone, and meditate among symbols of death. To outsiders, their appearance can be shocking, even frightening, as if they stepped out of a horror movie. Yet within their philosophy, it is all about stripping away illusion and facing life's ultimate truth head-on. What captivates many who encounter the Aghori is their complete rejection of social norms. They believe that everything in the universe is sacred, so nothing should be seen as impure. Their way of life has drawn attention from travelers, filmmakers, and curious onlookers for centuries. While their practices may seem extreme, they are rooted in deep spiritual ideas that emphasize fearlessness and liberation. In many ways, the Aghori act as living reminders of how far humans can go when searching for meaning, even if their methods shock the rest of the world. Seeing them in their ash-covered forms is like witnessing a living embodiment of death and rebirth. In Taiwan, the Truku people once carried on a tradition of facial tattoos that symbolized courage, adulthood, and honor. For men, the tattoos marked bravery and skill in providing for the tribe, while for women, they represented weaving mastery and readiness for marriage. The tattoos were not small or hidden. They stretched across the cheeks, chin, and forehead, giving the Truku a striking and unmistakable appearance. For centuries, this practice was central to their identity, turning every face into a living story of responsibility and pride. The patterns were simple yet bold, often made up of dark lines that contrasted sharply against the skin. Receiving the tattoos was a sacred rite, performed with care and ceremony, and once complete, the person carried them for life. When outsiders first encountered the Truku, they were stunned by the visual impact, and photographs of tattooed elders remain powerful images today. Colonial influence in the 20th century led to bans that nearly erased the tradition, but in recent years, younger generations have revived the practice in cultural festivals. To the Truku, face tattoos are not only about the past, but also about reclaiming their identity in the modern world. Their inked faces continue to fascinate anthropologists and travelers. In the plains of Kenya and Tanzania, the Maasai are instantly recognizable for their bright red shukas and tall, lean figures. Among their many traditions, one stands out as both a spectacle and a test of ability, the adamu, or jumping dance. During this ritual, young warriors form a circle while one by one they step forward to leap straight into the air, legs stiff and bodies perfectly upright. The higher the jump, the greater the respect from the crowd. It may look like a game, but within the Maasai culture, it symbolizes strength, stamina, and readiness to protect the community. The energy of the dance is unforgettable. Deep-throated chants build a rhythm, the men move in unison, and then one launches into the air, often reaching heights that leave tourists stunned. For the Maasai, it is also a way for young men to show themselves as potential suitors, impressing women with their agility and control. Anthropologists point out that the ritual has survived modernization because it is more than performance, it's a cultural heartbeat. In an era where sports arenas and concerts dominate entertainment, the Maasai still gather under the open sky, celebrating heritage through raw human strength and rhythm. In southern Ethiopia, the Hamar people celebrate a coming-of-age ritual that is as daring as it is symbolic. For a young man to prove he is ready for marriage, he must take part in the bull jumping ceremony. Dozens of cattle are lined up side by side, and the initiate, stripped down and covered in clay, must leap onto the backs of the animals and run across them. He does this not once, but several times, with the entire village watching. If he slips or falls, it can be humiliating, but if he succeeds, he earns the right to be called a man. The event is as much a festival as it is a test. Women sing and dance, elders chant blessings, and the young man's relatives encourage him with pride. The cattle decorated with ochre and flowers add to the vibrant atmosphere. To outsiders, it may look chaotic, but to the Hamar, it is a sacred milestone that binds the community together. The ritual has been practiced for generations, and while its setting may be remote, its drama rivals any sports final. Few traditions capture the leap from boyhood to adulthood so literally. In the deserts of Namibia, the Himba tribe has developed a beauty practice that is instantly recognizable. Women cover their bodies and hair with a mixture of butterfat and red ochre powder, giving their skin a deep, rust-colored glow. This paste, called ochre, is more than decoration, it protects them from the scorching sun and biting insects. The color also symbolizes life and fertility, making it a powerful cultural marker. To outsiders, the effect is stunning, with the Himba women standing out against the pale desert sands like moving statues. What's fascinating is how much detail goes into the preparation. Hairstyles are sculpted with the ochre paste, signaling age and social status, while jewelry made of shells and metal adds even more layers of meaning. Himba women spend hours perfecting their appearance each day, and the result is both practical and symbolic. For them, beauty and survival go hand in hand. Travelers who meet the Himba are often struck by their confidence and the timelessness of the tradition. Even in a modern world, the Himba continue to carry themselves as guardians of an ancient art form, turning the desert into their stage. In West Africa, the Fulani people celebrate manhood with a ritual known as the Sharo festival. Young men must prove their courage and endurance by standing in front of a crowd while being whipped across the back with long sticks. They are not allowed to flinch, cry out, or show pain. Instead, they must remain composed and even smile, demonstrating strength and self-control. For the Fulani, this is not simply about suffering, but about proving resilience and earning respect within the community. The festival is held during weddings and other major gatherings, making it both a public spectacle and a test of character. Drums beat, women cheer, and the entire community watches closely as each young man faces the challenge. Those who succeed are celebrated as true adults, ready to take on the responsibilities of family and leadership. What surprises many visitors is the festive atmosphere surrounding the ritual. It is less about cruelty and more about pride. For the Fulani, the scars left behind are like medals, visible reminders that the young man has passed one of life's greatest challenges. That's about it. Which ritual surprised you the most? Write in the comments. For more useful information, watch other videos.